Welcome to HR After Dark, where we talk everything about human resources, but we give it a clean and fresh perspective. So here I am again. I'm Marcia.
And I'm Meghan. And tonight we're going to talk about work-life balance, which I'm going to switch to call work-life blend.
Ooh.
And wellness in the workplace.
That sounds nice.
This is a good topic. I can't wait to talk about this with you.
Oh, yeah. Why is that, Meghan? Something you're not telling me?
No, you're doing better.
Oh, whoa, slam. Psht.
No,
Okay.
it's a good thing. You're doing better.
I am doing better.
Yeah, so am I.
Okay, well, that's awesome. Well, let's go right into it.
Yeah.
So what people don't realize is that people had felt, especially after COVID, that they were burnt out.
Mm-hmm.
And I think by looking at four walls for 2 years, they were saying, what am I doing? And I think that's why people come back to work and they want 40 hours, if not less, hours per week. And they're starting to do more things. And pickleball has taken a craze, and golf courses that can't get memberships anymore because they're all basically sold out. Mm-hmm. And I think people are starting to realize that, their health is really important.
Yep.
What are you seeing out there?
I'm thinking about wellness in the workplace in buckets.
Mm-hmm.
Physical, obviously.
Yep.
Emotional.
Yep.
Financial.
Yeah.
Thinking about so many people have never learned how to manage their money.
Yep.
Or, what their money can do for them. And so that is a great part of it, what an employer can offer.
Oh, yeah.
And then just emotional.
Yeah, but an employer can offer it, but it's really going to be the employee that has to take it and utilize it by the horns. We can't make you go to the gym every morning. I can't make you see your financial advisor. We could provide ideas, provide all that, but I think it's a two-way street here we're talking about. The person has to want to do it too.
No, I agree, but that's with anything.
Yep.
Right? So if we look at it from a wellness, a physical
yep.
Well-being standpoint, lots of companies are offering gym memberships or stipends. We used to have a Peloton in the office, walking pads, anything physical they can do for them, which I think is great. Many companies have EAPs that can help with the mental well-being, emotional well-being. Then the financial, we talk about utilizing brokers to help with that. So what's your take on well-being in the workplace?
I think it's an important piece of it. I think you have to do it almost again from top down. You have to show that you're going to do it. Mm-hmm. I've heard a lot of people won't leave the office until their boss leaves. And I still hear that, and that just cracks me up because I do feel if you want to leave at 4 o'clock, you leave at 4 o'clock. Mm-hmm. If you're getting your work done, why are you worried about your boss still being there? But I think people still have that old mindset of work. And I do think you got to put some time, your calendar. You take care of your calendar for work. You got to put time in there for exercise. And I'm in my big walking knack right now, and I just figure out, thank God for my iWatch, and I count so many steps a day. But you got to want it. And I think what people do, especially it gets cold, especially in the Northeast, people put the last thing on their agenda. And I think what people are doing, especially the younger ones, you haven't noticed, the younger ones, the Z's, that's my son's generation, they're all pretty much into fitness. They are very much so going to the gym. Mm-hmm. They're very much so eating good foods and drinking more water and, and hanging out with friends more than we were. Actually, we didn't have money to do all the health foods that they have, and we had no health foods back then. We just had bananas. Yeah. And
are you 100 years old?
Well, no, but sometimes I feel like it half the time when I get out of bed in the morning.
We have bananas.
So we had bananas. There was no health food kicks. We didn't have water bottles back then. It was a water jug.
I know. You know what's funny about the water bottles? Sorry to digress a little bit, but the water bottles. Do you ever remember bringing a water bottle to school?
There was no water bottles. I
was lucky if I raised my hand and got to go to a water fountain. But
I was lucky to have grape soda. Okay.
Yesterday, I sent Ava to school, and she had her water bottle, and if you don't pack the water bottle with them, they call you. There's no water bottle in their backpack. So go to the water fountain. But isn't that funny? It's that just made me think about water bottles and stuff. Yeah.
That's why they even have water fountains in schools
people
again.
have the big ones, when Kat walks in, and it's this huge cooler and this huge thing. It's so funny. I love these gifts. Yeah.
I mean,
it's a good thing. It's a really good thing.
I know, but Barb and I were talking the other day, and Barb is the same age as me, and we're we didn't talk about water. No one drank water at our age as a kid at dinner. It was milk. or milk.
Yeah.
And it was a treat to have soda. And we had the 2 liters by the side, and and it was like, oh, today was a good day. You guys are good, so we'll have you 1 small cup of soda. And it was like, yay, we're good people.
Yeah.
We couldn't have ice cream that night, but it was the soda. And now people drink it like it's like no big deal, and people are hooked on Diet Coke and all. And you're like, wow, times have so changed. And people are like, you didn't drink enough water. I'm like, we didn't drink water as a kid, so I'm still okay. But
we do like water challenges here. We do like step challenges, like.
When did we do a water challenge?
We did a water challenge during the pandemic.
I don't remember.
I'm almost positive we had to like drink a certain like our body weight in water in one of the months.
Obviously, I failed that one.
Yeah, you're like, what's
I don't remember that one at all.
Yeah,
so.
we definitely did something. But but what my point of bringing it up is like there's a huge emphasis on it. There has been for a while.
Yeah, but
I think companies, like the deeper they get in that's a huge.
Xers don't remember that as a kid. Just letting you know that now. Okay, maybe the millennials and definitely the Xers, but us Xers here, I'm Gen X.
Yeah.
No.
Well,
he's a Z actually. The Zers don't. Yeah, the Zers are more in.
I just think it's like it's that's where it's going, and so you can create if you have somebody in HR or you have somebody working in your culture, that could be that's a huge part of it, and you don't have to. There's lots of corporate wellness companies that you can engage with, and there's EAPs and there's wellness companies, and then somebody has to champion it internally.
Oh, totally.
Because then you have like, it's kind of starting at the top and making sure that there's something for everybody.
Well, I think the coolest thing is the walking pads that people have been embracing. And if they get their steps, and we have steps challenge, and I get that. But there are some people on our team, and you know who they are, Lauren, who basically has
Ashley.
has the step pad.
Marsha.
And well, I just got mine, so I can't be part of that now.
I know I was,
And you're talking and it's so funny. I'm like, well, there she is on her step pad, but I'm proud of them, because they're taking the time to be on it, online, and they're taking the time to get their steps in.
Yep.
And sometimes it's really hard. Yesterday I looked at my watch. I got home and coming back into the office from not being in the office for a while, and I was like, oh my God, it's 6 o'clock, and I've only done 2,927 steps.
Yeah.
I was like, I need to get outside now. And I went for a nice long walk, and time I went to bed, I had 10,000 steps. I'm like, good girl. Mm-hmm. But I was so it depressed me.
I know.
Because all summer long, I've been so good at 10,000 steps. And I was like, 2,000. That's all I'm a lazy slob.
You're not a slob.
I know.
What are
that's
other
what
things?
You feel like.
Yeah, it's like yes, I totally agree. What are other things that you do other than your walking? I know like you love your walks. What else do you do that brings you happiness?
Oh,
and then we're going to talk about balance.
I call them 10-minute cloud bursts. And 10-minute cloud bursts are basically literally sitting, looking outside, looking at the clouds, and just thinking.
Do you think about work?
I think about lots of stuff. I think about family. I think about God. I think about work. I think about where the company's going, my health. I talk about it's just 10 minutes with no technology.
Does it give you anxiety, or you feel good after the?
I feel great. Yeah. It's almost like meditation.
That's good
because your mind is away from your phone. Your mind is away from computers. Your mind's away from talking to people, and you're just letting go.
Yeah.
So it's my 10-minute cloud burst.
Okay, so cloud burst, walking. What else?
Reading. I've been doing a lot more reading this summer.
Personal, like professional books and personal. Yeah.
Both. My Aunt Mary always asked me, she's like, I'm sure it's a business book you're reading. I said, no, you'd be very proud of me. I said, it's not this time. And so I love Marie Benedict's learning about history. And we're really into, what's her name? Quinn. Last name's Quinn. She's another author that's pretty hot right now, but I love all that, and it's suspenseful and it's fun. Mm-hmm. I love
what about pickleball? Are you still doing that?
I do pickleball. We're going back to 1 day a week. Down the shore, it's really hard to find even a spot to play pickleball because it's pretty much so popular down there. And if you don't live there all the time, you almost look like an outsider. So it's really hard to get a spot. Mm-hmm. But hopefully Thursday nights we'll be doing that. But it's hard because we have events, and sometimes I have to cancel and do different things. And I really contemplate about taking tennis because I like moving my body. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I feel happier doing that because I think it's also very healthy for people. And the entrepreneurs that I know, all of them, especially the really successful ones, have all made sports or fitness a major part of their lives. Mm-hmm. And so to me, I'm like, well, if they can do it, I can do it.
Yeah. No, that's great.
What are you doing?
What am I doing? I wake up very early.
I know you do.
And I get my workout in because...
Like 5:30, right?
Yeah, like 5 or 5:30.
I'm going to drink to that.
It's just fun. Yeah, is this good for wellness initiatives?
No. To be honest.
It's all about balance. It's all about balance. It's not every day.
Go ahead.
I like to get up early,
Mm-hmm.
and that's when I do all my things.
Yep.
I like to Peloton.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly every day. Try to. I usually do a load of laundry.
Nice.
I do my emails.
Nice. I noticed.
And then sometimes I
Click, 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 click in the morning.
I know sometimes they come in at midnight and sometimes they come in at 5. It's like you never know where I'm going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Then I
Mine.
listen to a podcast sometimes while I'm like making lunches in the morning. It just depends on where my day's taking me. But I like my morning when no one else is awake. Or my kids are not awake.
Yeah.
So that I can have that time. Because at night, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And we have events and we have, school stuff. And so I'm like, I just need that morning time. And that brings me joy, like having that routine. I love pickleball. I don't get to do it as much as I would love. And then golf. Like I still feel like every time I go out there, I'm like, wow, I'm going to be good today. And I stink every time.
But wasn't the last time when you threw the golf club?
I did throw a golf club. So I need to meditate more, I think. I did. I was trying to be silly, but then I was like actually mad. So I need to.
Actually, I never saw you so mad before.
Yeah.
You were pretty mad that time. It was.
I don't get why I'm not so good. And then I'm like, wait, I don't play enough, but I want to be, it's my long goal out there.
Okay.
So that's all the things that bring me joy. I want to talk about work-life balance for a second because I don't even like the word balance because I think during the pandemic, it had to change to work-life blend.
Oh, yeah.
Because there was no childcare, there was no school, the spouses were working out of the same house, your pets are there, there was caretakers. You had to find a way to do both at the same time.
Yep.
And so that's kind of where what I've done recently.
Yeah.
Because if I want to go to an event or if I want to go to a school thing, like I try to find a way to do both.
Yeah.
And I feel like that is the way to success. If you can find a way to make both things like married.
It's hard though,
It's hard.
because being home, that was definitely difficult. But I remember my son, he's a big gym guy. And during the pandemic, he said, Mama, is it okay if I have 2 kids in the neighborhood come over every day and we just work out in the gym? Because the gyms are shut down.
Yeah.
Right? I said, go for it. He needs to do the gym.
Yeah.
Like 5 days a week. It's a good mental thing for him. For boys, it's really good. And so they would come over around 2:00 and, I had this routine. I'm like, wash your hands, as if now that made any difference. Yeah. But I made them wash their hands. They went downstairs. I would Clorox when they would leave everything. Yeah. They would pump up the jam for a good 2 hours. But awesome. You could see on their faces that they were like something to live for.
Totally.
And it was so good for them, their mental psyche, that I would talk to their mom. We were in the neighborhood. They weren't going out anywhere. It was just coming over to do the gym. And they all just felt so good about each other. And they were like teaching us goals and everything. It was just a great thing because especially for boys, the boys, I think boys and girls had a tough time during COVID, but you needed people. You still needed people. And I think it made it more evident than ever before. And, we're going to get on Nerve in 2 weeks. And one of the speakers is Rohit. And Rohit is he's a futurist. And he talks about the number one problem we're going to have in 2050. It's not about Social Security. It's not about welfare. It's not about poverty. It's about isolation. And he said, if we don't do something about it now, he goes, it's such a pandemic. It's more prevalent and bigger problem people even talk about. And, it is so sad because so many bad things are happening because of isolation. And I'm so people were like, oh, I can't believe you had your kids come over to your house. I said, call me a bad mom. I don't care. I was more concerned about the psyche of my kid.
Yep.
And to this day, I still have no regrets.
Yeah, I totally agree with you.
Yeah, but some people were not happy with me.
Yeah.
And I just sat there you have to do what's best.
You have to trust your gut. So
I did.
That's another thing I love to talk to you about. So, thinking about what the world is now in the workplace, the career paths for people are endless.
Yeah.
Moms have so many opportunities to be part-time, to be full-time, to stay at home, whatever they choose to do.
Right.
And this is for dads too. I shouldn't say just moms.
Right.
But how do you do both really well and not feel like nothing is falling through the crack or you can't be enough for either? Because that's the stage of life that I'm in is I often feel like I'm not doing enough at school. I'm not around enough for my kids, or I can't hit that event. Whatever it is, especially in what we do, What are your tips and tricks?
I'm still learning, Megan. And you know what? I have one child, and it was still a struggle. You know, starting the business, I was working till 2:00 in the morning. I woke up at 6. I made him breakfast. We would get him off to the bus. You know, get things moving, get to work, meet my people, come home at 3:30, make sure I was there for the bus, and make sure he wanted to play. You know, only child, you are the playmate.
Yeah, totally.
And it was a lot of work. I made sure dinner was always made. I loved a home cooked meal. I was really important that we eat together as a family, and we did that. And it was really tough. And there were days like, holy crap. And then when my dad got sick, that was another layer of responsibility. But you get through it, and you just become a little stronger because of it.
Yeah.
But that's why I learned right now, I really have to put more time to myself and my being, because getting older and harder to walk a little bit, that you're if I'm this age and hard to walk now, it's only going to get worse.
Yeah.
So I really have to focus on that. And you sit back and you're like, oh, I could have, should have, would have. Well, today is the day that you should just start and do something. You can't be thinking about it. You can't plan it out too much. You just have to do it. And you have to do what's best for you, because I don't want my kid taking care of me.
Yeah.
I don't want my husband definitely not taking care of me. It's just that kind of person. You have to figure out what's best for you. But work isn't everything. And it's a lot. And I'm very proud of where I'm at and what I've done. But I do think it's time now to really focus on taking care of me.
I noticed that.
Yeah.
I noticed you making that. We worked together for a long time.
Yep.
So I've seen this business at different stages of the company, but I've seen you put an effort into making time for yourself, which have always been my thing with you, my thing for you.
Yep.
And so when you do that, not just for me taking me out of it, you're setting the example for the rest of the company and for the leaders to feel comfortable to be able to say, I'm taking care of myself tonight. I'll handle everything that I need to do. You trust me. Everyone else sees that. That's what every leader needs to do, so that people don't feel like they have to be in the office till 7:00 at night or online at 6:00 in the morning. So that's a great example. I noticed that.
No, thanks.
That you're making on people. Big
But
impact.
it took me a while to get there.
Yeah.
Because I was brought up to be a workaholic and talked to me about, you have to put your head down and just keep doing work. I do. I love accomplishing things. But you have to be okay, because if you're not healthy and you're not mentally there, you're not doing anybody any good.
Totally agree.
And I think that's happening to a lot of people. But I think a lot of young ones are really getting that and understanding, I need to take that time. But it is funny, as an employer, when you hear the word boundary, because I'm always what's a boundary? And they're well, you can't text me after 5. I'm well, how about you don't answer till 8? And it's just if I don't do it, I forget easily. I will literally forget this.
I struggle with that a bit still.
Yeah.
But
that's a struggle. Everything's a struggle, but we're getting
everything's
there.
struggle. I feel we could talk about this topic all night. And I feel what would be really cool for our audience is to have experts in each of the different areas of well-being in the workplace, because we could talk about financial, emotional, mental, physical, for hours. So we'll do that next time.
We'll do it next time.
Yeah. So in the meantime, let's do a cheers. I feel this conversation deserves a cheers.
But just get started on yourself.
Just get started. And you don't have too much of the...
I'm almost done.
Oh, okay. It was just a little one tonight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody, for joining us and tuning in to HR After Dark. Until then, take care of yourself and others around you.
Totally worth it.